Sony's new God of War LaFay game abandons Kratos for female lead. So I wanted to go ahead and discuss this because I was able to catch the Sony State of Play and see what was going to be released as far as the game trailers and stuff like that. And honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. There wasn't too many things that kind of grabbed my interest in that regard. I was excited. I think the main one I was excited for was actually Stuntman Hollywood, which is ironic because I actually never played any of the Stuntman games. um Wolverine, Marvel's Wolverine came was shown. They did a trailer for that. I felt like that one looked okay. There was the whole Sweet Baby Inc controversy that was going on with that game, so that one is one that I am kind of taking with a grain of salt. The gameplay looked decent from what they showed, but at the same time, I don't really know if that's going to be something I'm going to be interested in. And then obviously we had the God of War trailer that came out at the end of the State of Play. It was the last thing that they finished with, and I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I was not satisfied with this trailer for it. 20 minutes the trailer went on. It went on way too long in my opinion. It was a cutscene that was 20 minutes. There wasn't any gameplay, and for the most part, until like the end of it, and then it shows Faye fighting and everything like that. As well as the fact that when you think about God of War, obviously the main character that comes to mind is Kratos. Personally, I don't want to play a God of War game if you're not going to be playing as Kratos. There was speculations that after the end of Ragnarok, that you were gonna probably be there's probably gonna be like a spin-off where you play as Atreus, and even then, I had zero interest in doing that because if they decided to do a spin-off, I remember thinking back then when the game, when I first played it, was I don't want to play as Atreus. I don't want to play as anyone other than Kratos when it comes down to God of War. So the fact that they're doing this game in regards to Faye is something that I'm not a fan of at all. Faye seemed like an interesting character and someone that was cool when they had it where she was just the wife of Kratos that unfortunately passed away. So it is one of those things, seeing that they're gonna be making a whole game on her and her character and everything like that. I'm not too fond of. I'm not really a fan of, because of the fact that, in my opinion, it kind of takes away the mystique of Faye as a character. Because when you play God of War 2018 and then you play God of War Ragnarok, there is some hints to who she was. There was some information vaguely that you get with it comes down from like Kratos and then Atreus and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like you have this mystique behind her because you don't know too much about her as a character. From the way that it sounded with Kratos, he looked at her one way, but once you find out some more information about her, she's almost like a completely different person to what we get that Kratos expected her to be. So the fact that, again, they're gonna be going into like her backstory and kind of what happened to her. Personally, I'm not really a fan of it at all. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, and I don't like the fact that they're gonna be making this her game, and then Kratos is gonna be pretty much having to take a step back. So it was just some of the stuff like that that I wasn't too satisfied with. Again, like I said, the trailer took way too long. It was not something I was interested in seeing. As it kept going on, I just kind of kept thinking to myself, like, are we done? Is it over? Are they gonna like show some gameplay and then that's gonna be it? But it felt like it just kept going and going. And yeah, man, I wasn't satisfied with what we got, and I wasn't too happy about it. And then it was interesting because there was some information that came out in regards to the original creator of God of War, stating that he felt that this didn't look like it was going to be something that was going to be good. And I got to say I agree with him. Um David Jaffe, from personal, experience with seeing how he is online and everything like that, there is some stuff that he has said in the past that I agree with, and there is some stuff in the past that he's stated that I don't really agree with, and I don't really care for. As far as him as an individual, I don't really know too much about him, so I can't really say I don't. But from like what I've been able to experience with him as an individual, I don't really have too many gripes in regards to him. But as far as him being the original creator of God of War and him making a statement like that, I feel like that is something that kind of holds some weight to it when it comes down to a character that he originally created. And then going through some other articles and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you can see at the top right here, there's a lot of that I've been able to go through. But one of the ones that kind of grabbed my interest, that really wasn't something I liked at all, was the fact that the actress who's going to be playing Faye, what she had to say. So as you can see right here on this headline, so God of War LaFay star Deborah Ann Wool says Kratos' gameplay is so fantastic because he's such a heavy hitter, but new protagonist Faye is just as strong and just as good a warrior. And I mean, at that point, I just like you're like, no, 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 no. Like at the when you get into the story of Faye and everything like that, it is stated that she was one of the giants and stuff like that. So she is strong. She does have that strength. But to even her out with Kratos, I think is such a stupid move for Santa Monica to do and kind of go into that direction, as well as the fact that they have, the actress playing her make that type of statement. So we'll go ahead and just play this really quick. It's just real fast with what she has to say. But I feel like this is very telling as to the direction that they're going in when it comes down to this franchise.
I love how acrobatic Faye is. I think the Kratos gameplay is so fantastic because he's such a heavy hitter and he has that brute force. And Faye is just as strong and just as good a warrior, but her gameplay is spinning and whipping and flipping, and it's in the air, and that we can show that there are so many ways to be a warrior.
See, that is just something I don't agree with, man. I don't like it. I don't like hearing her say that because of the fact that it sounds like they're trying to even her out when it comes down to her and Kratos. And at the end of the day, like, obviously it's a video game and all that type of stuff. But if it came down to it and it was, Faye versus Kratos is gonna win. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different games that we have that information, so many different things that he has gone through that we would see firsthand that, like, no, she doesn't stand a chance with Kratos. So for her to make a statement like that, like, oh, she's just as good as a warrior, it's like, no, she's not. Let's not fucking go there. And it's just, it's stuff like that that is really annoying when it comes down to, video game studios and stuff like that going in this direction as far as characters and where they're going to be trying to lead this franchise and stuff like that. Nobody wants to play a God of War game as a different character. Even in the God of War games, in like Ragnarok, one of the biggest issues I had with it was the Atreus parts. I don't give a fuck to play as Atreus in a God of War game. I want to play as Kratos and see what his story is. If you decide to do a spin-off with Atreus, go ahead and do it, but that's not going to be something I'm personally going to be picking up. Same way when it comes down to them doing a spin-off when it comes with Faye. That's not so this isn't going to be something I'm going to be playing. And I just don't like the direction that they're going with this. And it is one of those things that I'm interested to see where it's going to play out because I really don't think that a lot of fans are going to be too happy with this. So, watching the state of play and everything like that, there was some people out there, and obviously I'm sure if you go to the trailer itself, you'll probably see a lot of positive comments of people saying how they're excited and this is a W and it's cool. We're going to be getting her backstory. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of people that I'm sure are on the complete opposite end, like myself, where it's just like, no, this isn't something I want. I do not want to see Faye as the main character in God of War. So I don't know, man. This is just a weird one right here, and it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen when this game comes out because of the fact that you're like I stated before, you're not gonna be playing as Kratos, and the fact that they had to put like God of War in the name to be able to, I'm sure, try to use that as a selling point for this game. Um, yeah, I'm not too happy with this. I think this is really stupid of Santa Monica to do. If you're gonna stick with God of War, stick with Kratos, man. That's what players want. That's what players are familiar with, and we wanted to see. I've seen a lot of people mention how they did want to see the direction going towards more of a Egyptian lore and everything like that when it comes down to the pantheons and mythology. So to see that they're doing it, but they're doing it with Faye, I feel like it's kind of like they're dropping the ball in that regard. But who knows? Only time will tell. Maybe at the end of the day, I could be wrong, and it could be one of those situations where people love it and they end up liking this game a lot, and the character ends up doing really well. But from personal experience, there's been so many different games out there that have come out where they try to replace the main male character with a female character. There's so many that have been done, and it hasn't worked out really well for those types of games. When you think of like obviously God of War, you think of The Last of Us with Joel and Ellie, you think of Ghost of Tsushima with Jin Sakai, and then the female lead, I forgot what it was. just when they do these types of things, it's not something that really works out. And I'm interested to see where this is gonna go when it comes down to that this type of selling point when it comes down to the franchise. So we'll have to see what direction it goes in, but I really don't have much faith in it when it comes down to this. So that's just my personal opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. If you guys could tell me your thoughts on this. Are you guys excited to see Faye as a main character? Is this going to be something you're going to want to pick up? Or like myself, do you think this is kind of, ignorant of Santa Monica Studios and everything like that to try to go in this direction when it comes down to a God of War game? So if you guys can let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this long, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.